47% of jobs will no longer exist in 20 years. That's according to a study that recently came out. 47%. So out of every 2 jobs, 1 will not exist. Globalization, technology, robotics. So a biotech firm on the other side of the globe could come up with something that will completely wipe out an entire farm industry in the Bekaa, and you don't even know why. The people don't know why. Robotics could start driving cars. The problem is not about losing a job. The problem is about losing millions of jobs and being able to cope. Now, the last huge human revolution of sorts was the Industrial Revolution 200 years ago, and we had 200 years to adapt. The information revolution is forcing us to adapt in 20. So how will we survive? We have to rethink learning, and we have to rethink it quickly. Now that came really nicely and timely for me because I've been working on a concept which is smarter learning for a while. What is smarter learning? Well, let's start off with the basics. Basic learning. Education is basic. So essentially, you kind of put a child through an experience, you package knowledge, and after a number of years, this child is going to become a productive citizen. And that's been working for the past couple of 100 years, right? Until a colorful philosopher by the name of Floyd came up and said, we don't need no education, we don't need no self-control. Enter Giovanni into the picture. This is a kid I met this summer in a poor village in a poor part of Brazil. Now, Giovanni hadn't gone into school. He's only 3 years old, and he'd run around like crazy during the day. But at night, he would sit, just like you see him, and he would put between his hands this device, and he would start absorbing knowledge. Between Giovanni's tiny hands, he held more knowledge than his entire ancestral lineage dating back to Adam and Eve. How do we balance this kind of powerful, massive amount of knowledge with the structured approach of traditional learning in schools? Can we replace one with the other? Smarter learning is not about replacement. It's about finding a happy medium where both can exist. We'll come back to this point in a little bit. The second element of smarter learning is higher order learning, which has to do with things like creativity, critical thinking, experimentation. Of course, one of the elements or the problems with critical thinking is people know about it, but one, there isn't enough time to provide it in the classroom, and 2, people don't know at which age to start teaching kids critical or higher order learning. When my boy was 6, I learned that he was interested in planes. So as any generous father would do, I bought him a private jet, which he would fly off to, and he'd say, Dad, I'm off to New Zealand with a refueling stop in Vanuatu or somewhere. And I'd say, okay, well, be careful of those storms in the Indian Ocean. This entire learning experience cost me the grand total of $19.99, and what little time my wife and I spent in building him this simulator. During this time, he stumbled upon higher level mathematics, physics, geography, aeronautics, meteorology, outside of a school environment. For $19.99, what a steal. Some people think this is not real. You want to know how real this is? It says real as the sweat, cold sweat, trickling down my spine, sitting in the back of a real Cessna 172, when my boy had turned 9 and he flew his first plane. And I'm thinking, what the heck have I gotten myself into? third element of learning is social learning. Social learning, I would be exposed to in my graduate studies. And essentially, it's not about just putting kids in a social environment. It's more about driving kids in teams, in team efforts, towards an objective. The two are different, maybe related, but different. How do we bring this kind of an environment to children? And how do we bring it even outside of a classroom setting? Not replacing a classroom setting, but complementing the classroom setting. The thing about social learning, the genius behind it, if you really think about it, is not just what the children or what the learners learn, but how much more fun it is for the teachers. It's much more fun to be in an environment where there's debate, negotiation, different solutions to complex problems from different maybe multicultural environments. It's more fun for the teachers as well. And so when I graduated, I wanted to bring these three environments together. And I wanted to bring them in the thing that I knew and that I'd been working most of my life, which was technology. And so Tidwit, the company that I founded, was born based on these principles. What are these principles? Well, first, it's not about replacing teachers. It's about empowering them. It's not about replacing classrooms. It's about making them richer. It's not about books or curricula. It's about knowledge and opening it up for everybody. And it's not about what I can do, but what we can do together. We've done many projects over the years, but this is a project that's very close to my heart, back here in the homeland. About a year ago, we learned that the homeland was having educational challenges because of what was going on in the region. And so we thought, well, what kind of smarter learning can be introduced into this kind of an environment, where there's too many kids in the classroom and teachers don't have enough time to be able to reach them? What can we do in order to be able to provide outside of classroom experiences so that this learning experience can expand beyond? And so we launched, together with the Ministry of Education, a portal where we digitized the entire Lebanese curriculum, from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. And I'm happy to announce here today to all of you that it's free for access all over the nation. What is our hope? Our hope is that every single child and every single learner can have access to it. Even more so, we want everybody to be involved. So anybody can go onto the portal, choose any lesson, record their own Khan Academy-ish kind of a video, and provide it to us. And we'll post it for thousands of people to be able to access. The sky is the limit. Imagine what we can do if we open this up. Think about the expats and how much learning we would love our own kids to know about the homeland. Think about neighboring countries and how much learning they can benefit if we opened it up and obtained some funding from the international community. It could bring hundreds of millions of dollars into our educational sector, which is very much needed. You know, as I remember my own hike through Lebanon and all the kids that I met along the way, I think, how is their life going to look in 2034? Will they be armed with knowledge and prosperity? Or will they be armed with misery and violence? It's our choice. And we need to start investing today. A lot of nations have transformed themselves, and I think our nation can too. Expats and Lebanese that travel all over the world, and even Lebanese here in the homeland, prove it day in, day out. Ladies and gentlemen, we can all learn. We all deserve smarter learning, and it's the only way that we can make a better world and survive it. Thank you very much.